Okay, so what I'm about to tell you today makes absolutely no sense. It's my foolishness colliding with God's grace.
Wow.
And that's why I'm still here. The mystery. Me and my brother were talking about the mystery of Christ yesterday. That he makes known to the believers. And how cool a mystery is. Like, you know, the thing about Jesus is you can receive something. He could give you revelations. You can see him work in your life. You can answer prayers, and it's still a mystery. Like, you know of it, but it's still like, wow, it's incredible. So I don't know. I had to talk about that. My foolishness collided with God's grace. So I was born in New Britain, Connecticut, and I got two parents, still married. Good family. I have a sister, older sister. I have 3 nieces now. She's married. I started going to a church in Berlin, Connecticut. My mom brought us there when I was like 7 years old. I got baptized, I got saved there. We started going to a school at our church there for a time period, and then I was homeschooled for a little bit too as well, up to 8th grade. And 8th grade, I went to Emmanuel Christian Academy, and that was my first time going to a school. I remember telling my mom, you know, I've been listening to videos all my whole life, you know, with headphones in school, and I've been in my pajamas at school, you know, while my mom went to work, and I'm like, I'm gonna have a locker, Mom. I'm gonna go to a real school. There's gonna be people there. Like, it was great, you know, like. But even through all that, I always struggled with like insecurity. I remember, you know, waking up in the morning and looking at myself in the mirror and not wanting to go anywhere. You know, I was really fixated on, don't laugh at me, but it's kind of ironic now. I was really fixated on my hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like a very like perfectionist. Like, my hair had to be perfect. Don't put me in a convertible. No, we're not doing that. I can't wear a hat because if I take it off, my hair's messed up. I was really insecure about that. I mean, I'm just thank God that he took it away and I could just focus on him. I'm so grateful for that. He literally did that when I moved to London. I started getting light, I shaved my head, and I went, yeah. So he was like, you're gonna focus on me now, brother. I can't be having you at the barbershop 2 times a week. You know, get the line up. So I started going to Emmanuel Christian Academy, and my mom kind of had a gripe with Baptist leadership there, you know, and so she had to pull us out. She was working hard, man. My mom was always working hard, and my father too. You know, we were on food stamps and stuff like that. Like we really sacrificed. He sacrificed for me, for my, you know, even having dental work, and I see how much it is to as parents, they sacrifice for their children. So, you know, I was well taken care of. I did have to like off-brand sneakers sometimes, and the neighborhood kids made fun of me. That made me feel terrible. Sometimes, you know, like I was always not in the public schools, but I played sports in the town. So it's like, you know, when the kids would get out of school, okay, Marco, come out the house now from school now, and we get together and play. But it was always different for me. You know, I was always a small guy. I really didn't mature until later on in life. You know, like even now I'm still maturing at 39 years old. You know, it's just, I just feel like I was late on everything. And so I began going to school in New Britain High School. So imagine being homeschooled again, going to a Christian school, then New Britain High, 3,000 kids. I'm in the hood. You know, they got metal detectors. I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know, I'm in, you know, English class, and they're passing marijuana. I've never seen that before. This is new. Oh, my friend's coming back from the parking lot. He's the kid we play baseball with, but his eyes are red. What the heck is going on? I'm in the school store, and he's stoned. Like, this is some crazy stuff. And it was just all just collided and crashed on me. And, you know, I like playing baseball, but I never grew up in the public schools, and New Britain had a lot of politics when it came to baseball. Like, if you weren't in like this, you know, organization, or you didn't know somebody, you really didn't get picked to play. So I was small too, so I tried out for the team, and after I went to New Britain, I went to Plainville High for my 11th and 12th grade. So I went to Plainville High, and they started calling me like this wannabe tough guy. Oh, you're from New Britain? I was like, yeah. Oh, so they associated me with New Britain, Connecticut, which is a tough school, which is, you know, and all of a sudden now I'm being labeled as something when I'm just trying to sit in English class. Why are you talking to me like I'm somebody I'm not trying to be? Like, you know, I'm just a regular kid. So I would get bullied and picked on a lot there too, you know, because they were projected a certain demographic onto me, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't go to prom or nothing like that, and I missed out on a lot of things. So it was tough for me, 11th and 12th grade, you know. But I would try out for the baseball team. I didn't make it, and that really crushed me because my whole life is baseball and sports, and I identified myself as an athlete, you know. So when I was left with nothing in high school, where do I go? And you know where I went to? I went to the parties. I started, you know, alcohol and marijuana. I started there, and I started finding a comfort in that and relief in that, you know. Still, my identity was missing. So here I am. I'm like the Walking Dead out there, you know. No identity, but just going and doing these things and comforting and soothing myself with substances. And then I started 2 years later after high school. I went to New England Technical Institute for electrical. And I was a young kid, like I said, I grew up late-minded, you know. So like I'm going to this school at night, and I don't have nothing to do all day. I don't have a job, you know. And I'm going to school at night, and I'm borrowing my mom's car, so I'm getting into trouble all day, you know. My cousin, he dropped out of high school, so we're hanging on the streets all day. And so like I like barely make it to school every night, you know, under the influence. By 5 o'clock, I've already had a 40 ounce, and I smoke, you know what I'm saying? I'm already like, this is my life, you know. I'm going to school, and so everybody's learning and growing, and I'm still like staying back. You know, so I passed. I got my certificate and everything, but then I had nothing to do. I wasn't business minded. I wasn't goal oriented. So now I got this certificate in electrical, and I have no idea what I learned. You know what I'm saying? So I wasted that time, and then 2 years later, my mother got me into New England, the trade. So now I'm working in the union as an electrician, but now I got this addiction start to haunt me and follow me. So now I take this knowledge that I learned and starting to trade, and I'm working as an apprentice, and I'm making good money as a 22, 23-year-old kid, you know what I mean? And I'm doing well for myself, but I'm not, because I have this addiction already forming and manifesting and coming behind me and growing. I have this thing growing inside of me, and so I'm making more money, and I'm still soothing myself, and I'm going to school every night, 3 nights a week after work. I'm working hard, but I'm getting high. So it's like everything that I did that was good, I've always taken steps back. You know what I'm saying? So I never was able to advance correctly in my life. And so I got 5 years of schooling. I found opiates, and once I found opiates, my life changed. And I found, you know, heroin, and my life changed from there, you know what I'm saying? And that just devastated my life. So here I am at the peak of my life. I'm supposed to be entering a career, and now this thing has taken me down, and I'm crashing down. So my mom took me to, what's it called, Teen Challenge? Found Teen Challenge. Yes, sir. Yes, I was mopping the floors. I was, getting myself cleaned up for a couple weeks. They had me in the basement reading John. You know what I mean? Like, it was very strict, you know? And that's good because I had faith, and I always loved the Lord, and I had a desire for His Word. So this was nourishing my spiritual aspect of my life, right? And I was getting cleaned up. See, I learned something, though, quick. When you get cleaned up, you're not fixed. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So right. Here I am in Teen Challenge, Googling where my bank account, because I was getting unemployment still. So I'm like, I got money in the bank. I don't need this place. You know what I'm saying? So I left, and the guys prayed for me. He said, Marco, I pray for your life. I said, that's great. Thanks for your prayers. And he said, I'm scared and worried about you, because he knew how this thing went. I did not. So I left that place, and a week later, I was dead in my car, driving on my car. I was operating my motor vehicle and had a fentanyl overdose. First time I ever had that. You know what I'm saying? That was when that was introduced into my life. Imagine driving a car unconscious. You ever did that before? I don't think it's possible, but God still steered my car to a safe place at a traffic light where I hit a car very minorly, and they looked back and they saw this kid purple leaning in the seat. I was gonna get on a highway. You know, I can imagine what could have happened from there. So the Lord spared me. I remember waking up from that, man. By the time I came to, I was already in an ambulance. They had my car on a flatbed, and this lady was crying. Well, she was the one who turned around and saw me from the other car. So I can't imagine how her life was shattered that day too. And I remember my legs being gray. And I remember asking the EMT, am I gonna be alive? Am I gonna live? Am I gonna live? Like, I'm already alive and breathing. They brought me back the first time I introduced Narcan. And let me just tell you real briefly, I'll be one of 22 ODs. That was the first one. It wouldn't stop there. You know what I'm saying? So imagine mental health. Imagine all of that. The sound mind. Only God can give you a sound mind. I'm telling you, I could have been brain dead. I'm telling you, 22 ODs, being unconscious, waking up 24 hours later, not knowing what happened to me. You know what I mean? Coming back. Like, I'm so grateful that I may struggle with things still. We all were human beings. We're going to struggle. We're in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? God has designed us with emotions and things and insecurities. But God takes care of that now. It's under His umbrella. It's under His covering. I have a sound mind today, and that's a miracle. You know, and so when I came back to life, I remember being in the ambulance, and I had the old Verizon flip phone, right? So now here I am, legs gray, asking this lady, am I gonna live? Am I scared? I'm scared for death. And the phone, they had my phone on my belly, and it buzzed, and I flip it, and it's my mom texting me, what would you like for dinner?
Wow.
I've never been in an ambulance before. I've never OD'd on drugs before. I don't know where this is going. Where are they taking me? And my mom's just at home after a hard day of work asking me what I want for dinner. How do you respond to your mom? What do you tell her? You know? So that's when it got real for me, you know? I had to tell her this is what happened. She came to my bedside, but see how God works? The lady at the hospital was the lady that sings prayer and worship at our church. I never knew she worked at a hospital. She was the pastor's wife's sister, and she was there. Every time I was in some mess, God always provided somebody for me. Anytime I was in need, he always provided somebody to comfort me. You know, when I went to Stonington Institute, Donnie was there for me. You know what I'm saying? I had brothers speaking life into me. So any place I went, I had musicians there. My gift of poetry was being birthed. Any place I went, God provided for my needs. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let you know my foolishness collided with God's grace.
Yes.
And I'm here today, you know. I want to tell you, as a man, I work in the education system. I should never be allowed to be in a school with kids with the felonies that I was charged with in my life, including firearms, including risk of injury to a minor. I'm talking about aiming a gun at a family. I'm talking about like being out of your mind. I'm talking about being held in a jail cell on a $250,000 bond on Good Friday. I was held in a jail cell twice on Easter and resurrected on the Monday. I walked out of there. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be put in a grave and to come back out of it 22 times. I know what it's like to be in the New York streets ODing, people picking your pockets, but 2 nurses happen to walk by to Narcan you. You know what I'm saying? I know what it's like to be in the streets of Hartford and OD in my car and have everybody around tell that kid that was in the car to leave, don't get in trouble. But for some reason, he stayed and called 911. Man. I know what it's like to be rescued. I know what it's like to be helpless. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to be addicted and to have something that you can't shake off. I know what it's like to be in church praying for deliverance. I know what it's like to be begging God, why can't this change? I know what it's like. But today I know what it's like to be redeemed. Today I know what it's like to be in my sound mind. Today I know what it's like to be able to start a family all by the grace of God. See, she had to see some things too. See, my fiance had to see some things. It didn't get better once I met her. It didn't get better, exactly, it's right, and that's okay. It didn't get better once I met her, but you understand when somebody stands by your side like Jesus does? And that's what we need to do for our community people out there. We need to stand by their side. I don't care if they relapse when they're in church. Matter of fact, I went to church with drugs in my pocket, and God spoke a prophetic word that day that 5 years later came to. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter where you are. Let's love on people. Let's love on our communities. Let's love on ourselves. You know, I still got to learn how to forgive myself. I was looking at a house yesterday with her, and I'm thinking, and he was talking about 10 years later, you can reinvest. I'm like, 10 years later, I'm going to be 50. I went home like, where has my life gone? Let's not waste our days, man. Make the best of your days. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you're struggling, man, just be honest about yourself and be transparent, because the only way that deliverance comes is through transparent heart, man.
Amen.
And I'm just a miracle of God. And you know, like I said in my bio, it's trial and error. It didn't happen for me like I went here and it was fixed. I'm still living a life that I have to lay down and die to self. I'm speaking with my brother, and I'm gonna finish here. I have to die to myself every day for this thing to work. Because if I don't pick up my cross and carry it, I know what else I'm gonna pick up.
Yeah.
And by the name of Jesus, we are here free and we are here delivered. And God is in this place and he is in all of us. So I thank you for your time.
Yeah.